Jesus said, "You will be my martus," or martyrs, which means witnesses. We can only testify to what we've witnessed. We can't witness anything until we get up and go. So join me as we explore deeper into the heart of God. I'm Jared, and thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Today, I really want to cover this idea that the greatest mission that we have really is to just let God love us. Where is that in the Bible there, Jared? Well, let's take a look at it. 1 John 4:19, and it says, "We love because he first loved us." The beginning of everything in the martyr life is knowing that I am is present with us, loves us dearly from the beginning of time. It says that he first loved us. And if you look at that word for first, it means like from the beginning. It's at the beginning of it all. And this is a little bit of a stretch, but I think that it's clear that God meant that he loves us from the beginning of time, from before the foundations of the world was even laid. He loved us. And letting him love us is the beginning of everything. See, I can't love anyone else, and I certainly can't appreciate God if I don't understand that he loved me before I even could think about him, that his love for me is so deep and so present that that's all that matters, and it wipes away everything else. So where are you? Not physically, but spiritually, emotionally, psychologically. We've all been through a whole lot the last couple of years. Where are you at right now? Do you have an idea of have you taken stock of your life and what things you were going through and where you're at? How are you doing? Well, this is a really important place to start, is that we have to understand that God loves us, that I am this very present God. He's here with us always, and he loves us always. So let's talk about one of the things that I have found in my own life that has been instrumental in me understanding that how much God loves me. And that really, in the last couple of years, has been to understand shame. See, shame is a really tricky thing. It binds us up and it weighs down on us and it holds us hostage in so many ways. It's actually pretty amazing how pervasive shame is. It doubles down on stuff, and it is even the shame of having shame is a thing. It's crazy how pervasive it is. One of the things that's really helped me and my family just have the correct language to discuss shame in our lives, and certainly between even my wife and I, and even being able to extend this language to our kids and my extended family. But I highly, highly recommend Brene Brown's it's not a book. We listened to it on an audiobook, but it's called The Power of Vulnerability. It is a talk that she did, probably at a conference, I am assuming, because it's about 6 hours long. But it's like the first time she's kind of condensed all of these shame research that she's done over the years. And it's kind of older at this point, but it's so good. It's so well done. It talks about how much shame is in our lives for us to understand what our shame triggers are. Those things that happen that really trigger your shame to just flare up. And when we are feeling that shame, a lot of us act differently than what we really kind of want to act, because we're like a cornered animal and we feel so trapped that we kind of lash out sometimes, or we just double down. My biggest problem is I don't lash out at all. I actually just double down on myself, and I get extremely negative towards myself, I wallow in that shame, and I let it drown me a little bit. And sometimes, if I'm going to be really honest, a lot of it, that shame has weighed on me so heavy, and I haven't understood how much that shame has impacted my life. I haven't understood how that's impacted my relationships with my wife, with my kids, with my friends. Even professionally, I've struggled in so many ways because of the shame that I felt of not being good enough, or not being able to do as well as everybody else, that I just suck at everything I do. That negative voice really hampers on me, and there's certain things in relationships, as I encounter these things with the relationships in my life, they trigger that shame. And then, because I know that I shouldn't be shamed, I feel more shame for having shame. And I don't know if any of you guys can relate to that, but that's certainly been my experience. I don't love that about myself, and it's something I'm striving so hard to try to work on and to correct, and to see freedom in that. And because I've been able to start digging up some of that shame and being able to have a safe space with my wife, with some of my friends, my extended family, being able to have some of those conversations has been able to free up the shame, to get it off of my back enough to then be able to understand how much God loves me. And so, in my favorite verse, and I think the most important verse of all in the whole Bible, if I had to pick one, this is the one I would pick. It says that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. In that, while we were at our lowest point, while we were in our most worthless, that is the point that Christ died for us. Not when we're at our best, not when we are being the greatest that we've ever done, not in our greatest successes, but in the wallowiest, that's a word, in that place where you're in the muck and in the mire, and you're drowning in the worthlessness and the shame, and just the pit of despair. That is where Christ died for us. Not because in that moment we had anything great to offer him. We just have our own lives. That's all we have to offer him. And to him, that's everything. That's the most valuable thing that there is. To him, your life is the greatest prize that there is, because he counts you as valuable. It's not that we're deserving of that, but that he offers it because he finds value in something that I oftentimes don't see value in, but he does. And it's utterly amazing. While we were at our lowest, Christ died for us. He demonstrates his love by reaching down to us at the lowest point that we are. And he says, let's knock off all of this shame, because you are worth it. And I love you, and I care for you, and I gave everything I have for you. At your lowest point. It's unbelievably good. It's my favorite. It's my favorite verse. The point of grace is that you can't earn it. That salvation from God, it comes not because any of us have been good enough for it. No one has done enough to be able to have earned that. It is a gift from God. It's him and his work, not mine. And we have to rest in that. And even though I didn't deserve it, and it is there for me because he loved me before I could even love, before I even comprehended what love was, he loved me. And at my lowest, he loved me. That is the truth and the revelation that we have to embrace and hold on to. In John 1:12, it says, "But to all who receive him, who believed in his name, he gave the right to become the children of God." He gave the authority, the power, the ability to be the child of God. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter what you've been through. It doesn't matter what your plans have been up to this point, who you wish you were. It doesn't matter what you've missed out on and where you could have gone but didn't. It doesn't matter on any of the shoulds. What matters is that God sees you. He knows you. He loves you, even at your worst. He gave everything for you at that point. And he gave you the right to be called a child of God. And all we have to do is just believe that. It's amazing. Our greatest mission is to just let God love us. All we have to do is just say, okay, I accept that love. I don't deserve it. I shouldn't have it. But because you deemed me worthy of that, because you want to give it to me, I don't want to look down on that. Because you loved me, I can love too. That love is like a cool rain on a hot day. And I don't know if you, wherever you are, but in Colorado, it can be a hot summer. It's a dry heat, but it's a hot summer. And when you get that one real nice thunderstorm that passes through and it just cools everything off, oh, it's so good. And that is our hearts, the shame, the heat of the shame in our lives. Let this love just pour over you and just wash that away. It's so beautiful. And our hearts, they get so hard. We've carried so many burdens and we've struggled so much over different relationships and damage that's been done to us. We have to let go of that and let that rain, let that smooth, cool water wash away our hard hearts, and to be able to breathe again and to be vibrant again, to be wholehearted again, because God loves us even at the lowest point that we are. In the brokenness, he loves us. He knows that we're broken. It's not a surprise to him. He knows that, and he loves us anyway. So even when it doesn't feel like it, we have to hang on to that, and you have to just trust in that as a truth that you see, that you hold on to, that you never let go of. God loves you even at your lowest. And if at your lowest point, you just keep saying that to yourself over and over again until it just becomes a strength inside of you, that is living the martyr life right there. So how do we walk this out? Well, like I just said, that is one of the ways, is that you take that verse that while we were sinners, Christ died for us, that in our lowest point, God loves us, and that before we could even know love, God loved us first. These are essential pieces to understanding that and just putting that in your heart and embracing it and wrestling with it and thinking about it, writing it down a bunch of different times. I love doing that. I love writing down my verse that is meaning something to me, because, man, it just really reinforces it in your head. You need community. We have to be around people who will challenge us and push us to grow, but not just challenge us to be jerks about it, but because they love us and they want to see us grow. And they're willing to just look us in the eyes and say with all of the love in their heart, hey, we need to work on this. I love you, but we got to deal with this and we need to root it out. Church is a great place to start driving that community, to like find those people that are looking for the same things. I highly recommend finding a good church that you can plug into, that you can build some good relationships with people. Find a small group of some kind that is centered around the things that you enjoy, that you love, And that way you can kind of connect with those people and find those good relationships. Some of us need to go see a therapist. I highly recommend that. If that's something that you're even considering, like, do that. Whatever you need to do to be able to help heal that heart, I highly recommend taking those steps. The sooner we can let go of this hard-heartedness, the better off we are. Let's be wholehearted. Let's get rid of shame in our lives. Let's embrace that God loves us no matter what. There's also a lot in just praying and just saying, God, I want to know more about this. I want to know you better. I want to let go of the shame in my life. Reveal to me where is this shame happening? How can I walk away from this? Show me your freedom. Tell me how much you love me. Show me your love so that I can love others. I want to know you better. Reveal yourself to me more and more. It's a beautiful thing, and that's a relationship that you have to cultivate with him, because he's I am, and it's all about the relationship. It's not about crazy deep prayers or the right words for stuff. It's about just having that conversation and that relationship. That is what I am is all about. He wants that relationship. And speaking of relationship, I appreciate you hanging out with me today, stopping by to visit. I really value and honor your time. Thank you so much for stopping by. Never forget, you are not alone. And welcome to the Martyr Life. This podcast has been produced, written, edited, and hosted by me, Jared Eddy. Thank you so much for listening.